San Antonio Spurs v. New Orleans Pelicans. Guys, our Spurs looked impressive. They looked very impressive, actually. Now, let me go ahead and preface this by saying this, but I don't care. New Orleans Pelicans, they did not have Zion Williamson, okay? And people can say, well, they didn't play Zion. Well, you know what? We didn't have Sohan. We didn't have Vassell. We didn't have Keldon. We didn't have anybody. We had literally nobody, okay? To the point where we're starting Malachi Branham and Mamu. So we literally had nobody. But I'll tell you this, the Spurs played like an absolute team. And a big part of this, so I know quite a few people on Twitter was like, and even Sean Elliott mentioned it as well. They were like, Wemby didn't have that good of a shooting game, which he didn't. Like first half, he did not play that well offensively. But the thing is, we wouldn't have had the type of game that we had if it weren't for Wemby, because he got doubled every single play. He had a total of 9 assists, and it was all off of double teams, man. Over and over and over, they tried to double team Wemby, and then at the end of the game, when you absolutely need him, he showed up. He didn't have almost any blocks during the game, and his 3 blocks came in the second half, one of which came at the very end. He was phenomenal in the clutch, and that I expect nothing more, or nothing less. Sorry, nothing less than the best when it comes to Wemby, and he really helped the team. But another factor, okay, there's two factors. There's two sides to this coin. Wembanyama was great in facilitating for his teammates and finding the open man, and him just being an overall presence. But also, Popovich is a phenomenal coach. This is not normal for this team to compete to this degree. Now, they're going to make mistakes, don't get me wrong, but the competing is really, really something that you don't want to scoff at. Now, here's the thing. Now, people say, yeah, Graham Classic. Here's the thing, okay? If the San Antonio Spurs, like Devontae Graham, by no means is better than Sohan, Devin Vassell. Like, I don't think he's a better player than those two at all. I don't even think that he's a better player than Trey Jones overall. I don't think that he's a better player than Keldon. I don't think he's a better player than, I know you might hate this, but even like Zach Collins. But you know what he is? He's a vet, and he played like a vet. If the San Antonio Spurs had more vets on their team, they would have many more wins. That's why when a lot of people were like, oh my God, all these losses, we suck. Just blow it all up. Oh my God, everything's trash. It really came down to the fact that we're just so young. And we were riding it out with a team that, while they're more talented than some of the guys off the bench, obviously, they just weren't prepared to finish games. They will get into situations where they're close to winning the game, and then they'll just fumble it at the end because they're so young. And I think that we saw a game where it was close, and our veterans kind of helped us seal that thing, you know? Now, Malachi Branham, he did a phenomenal job defensively at the end to seal it. But overall, I do think that it was one of those situations where Devontae Graham really helped. Now he didn't have the best game. Okay, 6 for 15. That ain't pretty. He took a lot of threes. He took 12 threes. Good God. But he did help us seal it. And he had 3 steals. And it just seemed like things were a little bit more controlled. He didn't take unnecessary risks at times, right? And that's the most important thing. And I think if the Spurs really had a few more veterans on this team, we will be talking a whole new story. And this is the same thing with the season before, because people kept comparing this season to last season. They were like, well, last season we had a worse team than we do this season. Well, last season we had veterans. We had a lot of veterans. So you can't really compare last season to this season, because yes, you had a veteran team in that locker room. And even after they got traded away, you still had, that presence there. Like, people have already, or this team has already worked with these veterans the entire time. So yeah, I just think it's something just to keep in mind, when it comes to. Sorry, I was looking at my cat. I knew she was getting ready to jump up here. Hey, don't touch that. Don't mess with that. What are you doing? Don't mess with that. Yeah, just something to keep in mind. Graham hero balling unnecessary shots at times. But he had minutes, so good for him. I think the Spurs told him to take it. There was one shot in particular that really irritated me that he took near the end. But overall, there were many times where they passed the ball and a younger player would have tried to force feed or speed it up, and he did it. He slowed things down, reset, that type of stuff. That's what I mean where I say he sealed it. He didn't play too fast. And another thing to keep in mind. So I'm just going to skip over Victor. I mean, do I really have to talk about Victor Wembanyama? We all know he played well. Near triple-double. Nothing to really say here. Shooting-wise, oh, I'm sorry, girl. Shooting-wise, it wasn't the best. He's had better showings, but not really worried about that. He was double-teamed, quadruple-teamed, I don't know. But one player in particular that was very impressive to me was Trey Jones. Trey Jones on both ends of the court was, to me, now he had 3 turnovers, but to me, a near flawless game from him. I mean, nearly flawless. His basketball IQ really showed during this game. Defensively, offensively, he made the right cuts, rotated correctly, closed out. Just very basic stuff, but he did a phenomenal job. And he had a very consistent game that I thought that this was the most solid that we've seen all season long, in my opinion. I mean, he was just so good. Malachi Branham was pretty good too, defensively. There were many times that they did get past him, especially Herb Jones did get past him quite a bit. But overall, he did do a good job defensively, and he fought around the screens. You guys have no idea how many times I've yelled at my screen at Malachi Branham for just getting stuck on screens and basically just like giving up. But that did not happen this season. He fought through every screen, and I think he ended up getting 2 offensive fouls. There ended up being 2 offensive fouls on the Pelicans because of him actually fighting through it. So really interesting. Jesus, can you stop eating while you sleep or while you speak? Jesus isn't here. What are you talking about? Clan is winning, hurting Spurs draft stock. Now we same odds with Hornet. Oh, our winning is hurt. Dude, I don't care. I don't care about our draft stock right now. Are you joking? We need this. This is not the time. Last season, I'm all for you. Like, do not mess up this draft stock. I'm all for you. This season? No, dude. Screw that. Spurs need some wins. They've been losing a lot. They need some wins going into this next season. We got our player. Oh, crap. We got our player. And this upcoming draft, guys, it's not like there's one great player and then everyone else is just like a huge fall off. The talent pool during this draft is not that far apart. Like the 3rd overall pick won't be, talent wise, won't be as big of a gap. Like 3rd to 5th, it's not that big of a gap. We're going to take Modest wherever we are. That's what I'm hoping for, that we'll be able to take Modest Buzelis. Don't worry about that. Do not worry about our draft stock right now. We'll worry about that when the season's over. The Spurs need some wins. I'll be for you if we didn't have our guy. We got our guy. The Spurs need some wins. Wemby needs some wins. They need to not end up being the worst record, having the worst Spurs record in history. They don't need that. Exactly. Wemby's name shouldn't be synonymous with the worst season. We don't need it. You don't need it. I'm not saying it ends like I don't think it's gonna hurt Wemby's legacy or no foolishness like that. I just think that it's a morale booster. You need to get some wins near the end of this thing. Finish it off strong so you can build off of it. Exactly. Boosting Wemby morale going into offseason. Yeah, do not worry about that. But who else? Let's see. Hey, don't eat that. She's always biting on my keyboard, man. I'm going to have to take you off the desk if you keep biting the keyboard. Anybody else? Wesley, offensively, very poor. 4 turnovers, 2 of which were really bad. But, hey, it is what it is. Defensively, he did a pretty decent job when he was guarding because we mostly had him on CJ McCollum. He did a fine job when he was on McCollum for the most part. Who else? Anybody else that we need to bring up? I think that might be it, honestly. Going to be hard with the remaining schedule, but possible if starters are resting. Yeah, I mean, teams are going to be resting guys. You know, teams are going to be resting guys, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll be all right. It's going to be entertaining. Nonetheless, it's going to be entertaining, but we need some wins. Don't worry about where we land in the draft right now. Don't worry about any of that. The 2024 draft isn't as crazy as you think it is, okay? I really, truly do believe that the Spurs can maneuver to get just about anybody they want. I mean, if I'm being real. So don't even worry about it. I'm concerned about Wemby tweaking them ankles all the time. It's not all the time, Llama. I mean, I can only think of twice, and he got right back up. I mean, unless you're thinking of more times than twice. I'm thinking earlier in the season and today, but I don't know. Clan should Wemby we'll get there. That's another segment. But overall, I just want to say I'm proud of our guys. They did a phenomenal job. This was a good game. Everyone did their thing. Even City Sissoko, guys, he only has 6 minutes. But he had a really good defensive play in there. I don't think it was a steal, was it? I think he just knocked it out of bounds. Yeah, he just knocked it out of bounds, so it didn't come up on the statistics. But he was playing really good defense. They attempted to pass out of because he was locking them down. They were trying to go up for a layup, and then they were going to pass out of it. He smacked that out of bounds. So he did a great job. Okay, you're going to have to come. You're going to come on. You're going to have to. Come on. Come on, girl. Come on. I don't know why you want to sit up here. It's not that much room up here to begin with. Just stay down there for me, okay? All right. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. How you feeling about Blake Clan? I'm cool with Blake. He's all right. He's just young. You know, he made some mistakes. I don't know. I've said this many a times, but like, I don't know if he's going to be the point guard of the future or anything like that. I have no idea. But I do think that he has a place on this team. He definitely has a place on this team. And what he's keeping up defensively, I think he definitely can, you know, stay with our team and grow. I'm not expecting, I could be wrong, but I'm not expecting the Spurs to get a point guard this offseason. And if that's the case, and they just go ahead and fill in, because we really need a defensive wing first and foremost, and we allow Trey Jones to write it out for one more season, and along with Blake Wesley, we could really get a better assessment of Blake Wesley come next season. So I'm not really struggling or worried about it at all. But yeah.